All right, let's move on to St. Louis as we work through the bottom three teams in this division. The St. Louis Blues, what an up and down season for them. They've been up and down like a friggin' yo-yo, man. It's been a crazy season in St. Louis. 49 points in 47 games. They're just a couple of games above 500. We did not see this coming for the St. Louis Blues. Case, your grade for the Blues at this point?
Yeah, I'm going to give the Blues a D. Simply said, I don't have a ton of good things to say about the St. Louis Blues. I'm going to be pretty quick with these last three teams in general, to be honest. But St. Louis, the glaring negatives, one of them is goaltending. Binnington has been not good, and the team is also not helping him. They give up a ton of scoring chances, both high danger and medium danger. Their Corsi is all out of whack. They're really not playing well. And when you look at expected goals, both for and against, they're right where they're expected to be, which has them third last in this division. And for me, that makes them a D, because we expected better things out of this team.
Yeah, I think we were right at the start of the year to have some concerns about their goaltending. At the start of the season, we ranked Nashville to finish second and St. Louis to finish third. Now, mind you, when we talked about this division, we said it was going to be close, and we did mention some concerns. And with St. Louis, one of those concerns we had was goaltending. So we were right to think that, because this year, like you guys have both mentioned, it has not been very good. Binnington has been a complete question mark in the net. You never know what kind of goalie you're going to get on any given start. And that's just a problem when you're a team trying to compete. So that hasn't been good. He has a negative 8.2 goals saved above expected. And then Thomas Greiss has been fine, but he's been about average. If you remember, dating back to last year, Binnington and mostly Ville Husso were both pretty good during the regular season, Husso especially. And then when it came to playoff time, Binnington was the guy who took over the crease from Husso. So goaltending, whether good or bad, has kind of been the story of this team. And similar to the Winnipeg Jets, I guess their success sort of ebbs and flows with the type of goaltending they're able to get. And they haven't got any this year. Another concern I had with this team, and the reason that I'm giving them a C- is because there's been a ton of regression, which probably should have been expected when we were talking about this team. Last season, they had 9 players score 20 goals, and we talked about the depth of this team being one of their strengths. This year, it has not been the same story at all. They're 19th in goals for, and they have the 9th most goals against in the NHL right now. So not only are they not scoring, but they're not getting goaltending either, and it's just been a whole mess up and down, top to bottom. And, it's kind of a shame, I guess, if you're a St. Louis fan. But as we get to the bottom of this division, these last three teams here, we're going to start talking about Connor Bedard. And so maybe it's the case that it's not that much of a shame if you're a St. Louis Blues fans, because you can sell at the deadline, get some picks in return, and try to get a high pick in this year's draft.
Well, hey, the good thing about the Blues is that they didn't win that long ago, and or they won not too long ago in 2019, of course. But this has been a very up and down season for this hockey team. In my opinion, they're the most inconsistent team in the entire NHL this season. I was high on the Blues. I said this team is built like a playoff team, but they're just not the same team at all that won the Stanley Cup back in 2019. I think that they've lost a bit of their identity. When we think about the St. Louis Blues, we've always thought of them as a team that is hard, physical, in your face, and just covers a lot of the ice. But I think they've lost a bit of that identity, and some of their younger players that have regressed is concerning. We're going to see that with veterans, of course. I mean, we didn't expect Ryan O'Reilly to have the kind of season that he's had, and now he's injured and probably going to get sold off at the deadline along with a guy like Vlad Tarasenko. But it's concerning how much Ivan Barbashev has dropped off this season for this hockey team. I thought he was fantastic for them during their cup run and was going to be one of the stars on this team. He's really dropped off, and again, Chad, you've brought this up before. Like, I don't understand why they would give Nick Leddy the money that they could have given to David Perron, who was a huge part of that hockey team, huge. And I don't get some of these moves by Doug Armstrong as well. I think that this all falls on him. It's not on Craig Berube. He's a good coach, but he's lost a lot of core pieces of this hockey team the last 3-4 summers, it seems like. Pietrangelo, Perron, Husso. There's 3 names right there. So it's not the same old St. Louis Blues, and that's evident. So I got to give this team a C-.
They weren't going to sign Husso because of the money, but they could have signed Perron if they didn't bring in Nick Leddy, and that to me was the biggest mistake of the offseason. And at the time, like, we talked about it as that, because it wasn't one of those things where, you know, the player signs and then you think, oh, okay, that might look bad in a couple seasons. The player signed, and on the day of, we were like, okay, well, why didn't you use that money in a different way? We looked at this team, we looked at, you know, their depth and thought they could use another scorer like Perron, and that's evident this season. They can't score goals, guys. Like, that was a brutal move.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we'll see what happens with the St. Louis Blues, but hearing a lot of trade speculation when it comes to some of their big stars on expiring deals. So there we go.